and see how this works. Not necessarily that it will be any different. I think we're still trying to test these commands out a little bit, so we're gonna see how this works. Okay, so we're going to stop and think about it for a minute while we are looking at some of these features. I mean, this is a new way of doing it. I have to give immense credit to the guy that because I'm scared to forgive me this idea of using the correct bot to record audio and see how it seems with the noise cancellation, because this mic is not the best. So we're gonna talk about a few of these topics and see where I get to and see where I feel like there's a slow place to stop. So we're gonna take notes from there. For example, if I talk about the discussion on the originators or the originators or the originators of hip hop not being or doing anything for hip hop, for the hip hop culture in a weird way, which to some degree, I hold that to really some remorse, I think, to me, if you ask me, because say DJ knows Marcus Nasty, that was the inspiration behind UK or hip hop, UK, United Kingdom hip hop. But then if you look at people like Miles Davis that make blues, like in the idea make blues, and you have Pac that made hip hop, Pac, Biggie that made hip hop kind of famous, right? It's because they weren't. So weird to me, because if you ask me, who made hip hop, you'll get, and especially in the States, you'll get Clevis, Campbell, and I don't think he was given enough credit for making hip hop as a culture, but I don't think he is. I don't think if he didn't die yet, he's 67 years old, and he is an Afro, but he wasn't very rich when he created hip hop. Now you could act, he went by the name DJ Herb C, but I think if you ask me who was the king of hip hop, it's very hard for me to say that they're rich. I don't think he's worth $3 million, but he made hip hop in the early '90s. Well, in the 20th century. But then you look at Marco Nasty that made hip hop in the United Kingdom, and they're not really rich, right? But I think from his position of if you make enough money, you made hip hop. That's a weird thing, especially coming from another podcaster that said that. I think I run this risk of sounding bitter, but it's the fact that Pac at the time that he was popular in his music was, I'm gonna say, he wasn't rich. Biggie was not rich. Pac wasn't rich. Neville Campbell was not rich. Marcus Nasty is not rich. Like, they're not rich people. They've been doing it for years, but they're not included in being one of the richest generations. But I think you take steps to do it because artists had to be in 360 deals. You need a record labels to make money to sell it, which is a weird thing to listen to because it took so status where we don't need record labels to play our music. We have Spotify. Business wise, it might not be the value of money and the sponsorships that are brand new, right? Or these mentorships are brand new, or these beats are brand new, producers are brand new, right? But I think to say that they did nothing each year, in each generation, each decade, they made it easier for us to listen to music, stream it on platforms, to make music and not have to go through corporations to get sales. If you're great at promotion, you can do it. The guy from The Ville is a great example. J.I.D. is a great example. Cole is a great example. Kendrick is a great example. I think people don't realize that Kendrick was signed to TDE, but they know Kendrick's face, right? And that's partially Top Dog, but it's also the way that they did the artistry, right? And they took money to make our artists the way they are, but it's not seen as noticeable because they weren't rich. Top Dog by no expense is rich, right? But we were at a point where the record labels were owned by Warner Brothers. Now we have Warner Brothers, but we had Wayne run a company, we had Cameron run a company, we've had people run companies, be ARs, do so much for the culture. For this, so to say that, I guess that's my whole thing is to say that they didn't do anything because you don't see the cash part of it, right? It's extremely selfish if you ask me. However, that's not the case. They did things, they just didn't do it for the money value. They did it for the next generation. As in, this generation, we've made opportunities, not necessarily in music by itself, but we've made it to where we've seen what X, Juice, XXXTentacion, they were all able to come off the Spotify. Young Perp, there were a lot of people that were able to come off of Spotify and make money and sign record deals if they wanted to. Right, we've made record deals, like generations have made record deals optional where you don't need them to make music. Like look at Lil Nas X. He wasn't signed to a record deal, but I had one of the most played songs in the country at one point. Right, and that's but you see cases where Taylor Swift was part of a label and her music is always being pushed out. Like we've made it to where labels are optional, and I think that's where I stand with them. Right, like they didn't get the money from it, but they made it observational. Like Flex, Sway made it to where you could talk about music and venture out more without it being like a cliche. Sway did that, right? The Big Boy Radio did that. Now they might not have had the easiest route doing it, but when they did it, we now had the opportunity for the Breakfast Club. Like I think if you look at hip hop in a certain way, like people used to say you could make money off of gaming, but Epic did it, FaZe did it. Like there are so many different ways. Rogue, there are ways that that generations of a certain genre has helped people move the way that they are able to. But I don't think, and I think this generation is too caught up on the money aspect of, like if it's the money, then nobody's rich. Nobody from this generation is rich. Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, they're wealthy. Kanye, they're wealthy, but they're not. They're not corporation rich. But then I think people forget how new that hip hop is. It's not jazz. It's not rock and roll. It's hip hop. It's rap. Like if we look deeper into it, we just Nas's, Ether, Jay-Z's, blueprints. I think overall they made it better, made it hard things better, but also haven't given people an audience to listen to. Because you can make music, but if you don't have an audience to sit or a way to distribute it instead of CDs that go out to see how much you made a week, it could be flawed. But now we have streaming services. Like it was improvement. They just didn't get them people are getting now.